Hi, I'm Margot Collins. I recently had the pleasure of visiting local artist Marta Mouka at her studio, where she uses woven silk and natural dyes to create beautiful graphic art.
So my name is Marta Mouka. I am fiber artist. I was born in Czechoslovakia, a beautiful country in the middle of Europe with big culture and big art background. But when I was growing up, it was plagued by communism. So it wasn't so easy to growing up, and decision to leave the country was done after I was married and had 3 children, and we came to Canada in 1983. I studied graphic design, and after school I work in graphic design studio, which sounds great, but in my country it was practically creating big posters with Lenin and propaganda of his wisdom. So it wasn't really very attractive job. At the time when I had my children and I was stay-at-home mom, I chose to start with fiber art because it was easy to stow away when I wasn't working on it, or continue when I had a little bit of time. There wasn't any toxicity, so that was good to have something like that to keep my sanity when I was at home with children. So I started with fiber art and I really liked it, and I practically continued after. Fiber, cloth, textile is wonderful media. I love the texture. I like the fact that I practically do collaging with my fabrics, and that prompted my interest in creating some images on my art, on my fabrics, which I started with media which were just sitting on the top of fabrics, and I couldn't use it when I was doing needle felting. Then I discovered eco-printing, which was fantastic because those prints goes through the whole image, goes through the whole fabric. So even if I needle felted it, I still had my image.
So what is eco-printing?
Eco-printing.
I'm sure it's a big world, but...
Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's using natural dyes, and the printing is done with plants itself. I have sample of the finished bundle. I take my fabric, I roll it on the table, I placed my plants on it, and then I roll it into bundles like that, and they are steamed. So after steaming, I open it and I have my prints. I work with silk, which is the best media for this technique, and the silk has to be mordanted, which means it has to be applied something like alum, which potassium aluminum sulfate on the top of it. It's soaked in it, so that will make sure that the tannin and pigment from the plants will adhere to the fabric, and it will be permanent. So it will be light fast and wash fast.
And color fast or
Color
bleed
fast.
or
That's
anything.
right. That's right. Yeah. So this is very old technique which I got really excited about. I like the fact that I'm using natural dyes, which was perfect for my gardening passion. So I grow lots of the plants which I'm using. I planted trees which produce leaves which are best for the printing. So it was kind of whole circle. So it's not just the printing, but it's knowledge of botany, some chemistry, and it's a. I was telling my husband, this is activity which keeps me interested for so many years.
And your background in graphic design, you can certainly see that in the work you do. Does that inform your work, or is that just natural to you? The kind of composition.
Yeah, definitely the graphic design is visible in my work. And when we moved to Canada, I started to work in graphic design studio, and later on I ran my own graphic design studio where I was art directing and producing 2 magazines. So collaging or abstracting into, let's say, logo design, that these 2 areas complement each other, and definitely my work is abstract, but usually has some object which is highly abstracted into my work.
Yeah, I was wondering, as I was thinking about this conversation, about, do you have a complete vision of the piece ahead of time, or does it begin to emerge as you're working on it? How does that work?
I do have complete vision. Well, first I have fabric which starts to speak to me. So then I started to have vision how it should be, and I have background and plastic foil where I drew my image. And it's important because I have to cut fabrics and I have to have pattern how to cut them, so I don't waste lots of material. And also I have to be happy with the image which I'm working on. So it's almost like creating clothing.
Yes.
I create a pattern and then I work with it.
And is all of the color that we're seeing, that's your dyeing? That's all natural dye?
That's all natural dye.
Yeah.
Silk actually picks up natural dyes wonderfully. So it creates really beautiful shades, and I'm very happy creating my own fabrics.
And is silk the main material that you use then?
It
or do you
is,
use anything else?
silk. I started to work with silk in a process of needle felting, because silk has similar qualities as wool, so it is bright. So when I work with needles through it, I practically shredded the silk and create new textile. So it works. So silk or wool is good, and I prefer to work with silk.
Can you tell us about that piece you're holding?
Well, it's a silk scarf which has a number of plants which I grow, and the color is brought to this scarf by blanket, which is soaked in logwood. Logwood is shavings from it's a shaving from tropical tree, which come to me as an instant dye. But so it has it has layer of silk, layer of plants, and the last layer is the blanket, and it's all rolled together and steamed.
So these are actual leaves that you've rolled up.
These are actual leaves,
and that's what you're saying to print.
and if I know well my plants,
This isn't a test, by the way.
I can tell in this chemistry when tannins and pigments work together, so they release different shades.
Mm-hmm.
So I can predict how to compose my layout, my plans to have different shapes.
Wonderful.
It's years of practice.
Years of practice, yeah.
So I spent my summers in the barn, where is my printing studio, and I print fabrics which I will use in winter.
Mm.
Winters are long and fabulous here. It's my preferred time.
Yes.
When I have snow from my windows, and I will sitting here and working on my pieces, and it's nice and quiet.
Yeah, it's a lovely studio to work in. I'm sure all this light. Yeah. So when do you harvest all your leaves and things?
It's just a short period of summer.
Okay.
Yeah, so the spring is still very cold, so it starts end of June. End of June I can start to harvest some plants. So I have June, end of June, July, August, and in mid-September usually first frost comes.
Right. Would you say you're very prolific? You create a lot?
I create a lot, but this is a slow process.
Yes. Yeah.
Fiber art is a slow process.
There's
So
a number of steps you have to go through.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go as fast as painting.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes me a long time, which I like, because it's very meditative. It's tranquil, and it brings me to interesting world which is mine, and it's very comforting.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a dry spell where you're just not inspired, or you're kind of like, oh, I need to do something different?
Well, sometimes I I get tired of certain technique, and I start to think about other ways how it can be done. But practically, what I guess every artist know, work creates another one. So you just have to start with something, and your mind starts to think creatively. And by the time you finish one piece, you know exactly what are you going to do. So I'm not waiting for any news or
Right.
or any inspiration. The work is inspiration.
Mm-hmm. If you were to talk to someone who looks at your work and says, I'd like to be able to do that, what might be a message that you would want to pass on to them?
I think one beautiful thing about being creative and being an artist is the tool you have to deal with life when the situation is not so favorable. You have place to escape, and I think that's just wonderful to have such an area to be occupied and not to dwell on life which is not good to you at the moment. I think it's used in therapy as well. So that's just a nice gift to have.
So that's a wonderful way to focus it, to focus on what your inner experience of creating something would be, rather than the end product or the monetary aspect of it, or
the end product is not so important.
Right. Say more about that.
I mean, it's the process which is inspiring and which keeps your mind occupied and brings happiness and joy. So that's the process. And what happens to me usually when the work is finished, I hate it. I just can't look at it. So
you're done with it.
I am done with it. It has to wait for some time till I bring it back, and okay, so I like it.
That's